Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We're talking about the Nancy Guthrie case. Reports are that there was no struggle in the home. What does that mean? And was Nancy taken earlier? We're going to run through a lot of scenarios, deep diving here on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace, smile through pain with a painted face. They called me too loud, too much, too strong, but honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my plan, but I'll rise again. Just watch me judged by the gloss, not the cause. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roar, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul, through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
Coming in clutch, better tighten them pearls, nothing cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, better tighten the pearls. Dropping cold facts, got the truth for the world. No smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options, anywhere on the internet, anywhere in thy world. And you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is March 31st, last day of March, going into April 2026. It is currently 10:13 p.m on the east coast of the United States. Bonjour. Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Tonight we're talking about the Nancy Guthrie case, new things rolling out. Very interesting. Very interesting. What's going on here? Brian Inton reporting that there is no struggle in the home. What does that mean? Well, there's blood. Does that mean that there was a struggle? Not necessarily. And we're going to dig deep into it. Before we get started, if you don't mind, my beautiful pearls, please do me a big favor and hit that thumbs up button. Would be so thankful. Also, if you would share this live stream out, would mean very much. Just copy that link, share it in any of your favorite social media. Also, if you would consider hyping this live stream after the live, you don't use it, you lose it. You get 3 hypes a week. And if you would consider giving us one of those, I would really do appreciate it. It means truly more than you know for us creators. Um, Thank you. Hello, everyone. Let me say hello to a few of you in chat. Miss Mama, good to see you. Miss Shadi, Tina, Leslie, always keeping it real. Christy, Jerry Lynn, Tammy, good to see you. Miss Deb, hello. Shannon, how you doing, darling? Miss Susan, peace of Jesus to all. Hello, Christy. Um, Debbie, good to see you. That's not what Sheriff Dummy said in the beginning. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Wild Angel Roxy. And that's the thing about this case. Like, you just never really know because there's so much different reporting. Hey, Miss Kelly, good to see you. Hello, Rapper. Good to see you, my friend. Shannon, Miss Dottie, hello. Wendy, Christy, Susan, hello. Who else do we got in here? Nana, good to see you. Jerry Lynn. There's Miss Yvette. Hello, Tina. Roxy. Hello, darling. Good to see you. Good to see everyone as y'all are rolling in here. So, yeah, very interesting. And I've got some thoughts on it, to say the least, tonight on this topic. Uh, I hope so, Rapper. God, I hope so. I really hope that they find something very soon, because it's, but you know something? There are people that are reporting, old FBI, retired FBI officers and all that, that they say that they think that it might take over a year. So we'll just kind of have to see. All right, guys, here we go. This is what Brian was reporting today. Very interesting. Listen to this.
So,
What am I doing?
hey guys, so I'm in Arizona. I'm actually right in the back of Nancy Guthrie's house, which I'll show you in a second. But first of all, I wanted to tell you that I have a source close to the investigation who has confirmed that there were no signs of an assault inside Nancy Guthrie's house.
Okay. He says the word assault. No sign of assault. Okay. Assault. Now, my question on this. Okay, no sign of assault. Then why? There's blood. So how can you say that there's no sign of an assault when there is blood? Now, let's be real. Nancy's 84 years old. Elderly people have, paper thin skin, and she's on blood thinners. Very easy for Nancy to bleed. You could see pictures of her arms and all that with a lot of bandages, bruising, very common, very common. But how are they coming up with this information? You know what I mean? Like, no sign of assault. If there's no assault, then that means there wasn't a struggle, right? Because, well, not necessarily either. Because if you're assaulted, it doesn't mean you fight back with them, right? Hey, Miss Michelle, good to see you, honey.
And it was clean. Some rooms in the house were described to me as immaculate, but there were no outward signs of an assault inside Nancy Guthrie's house. Let me show you guys. I was able to get right back here to the back of the house. It's really the closest I've ever been able to get, but this is Nancy's pool right here. Right back there is the like the patio area, and there's 2 doors underneath that patio area, not sliding glass doors, which I initially thought maybe she had sliding glass doors here in the back, but they're just regular doors with.
And Brian had some very good reporting. Maybe it was yesterday or day before. There's no sliding door in the back. There is a sliding door right outside her bedroom. She's got like a patio that she can walk out on, which, if you remember, FBI really and Pima County were real, but particularly FBI, really looking into that sliding door right out in that area as well. Kelly, we're having a major snowstorm here. We have lost power 3 times today. Oh, if I disappear, that's why. Oh my gosh, Kelly. That's terrible. That's terrible. I mean, you're in Canada. We can get snow in April here too. I can't imagine in Canada. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh man, Shannon, thank you so much, my love. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so very much, my dear. Very kind of you, Miss Shannon. Very kind to me. Thank you for that, honey. Really, really do appreciate that, Miss Shannon. It doesn't make sense. I have a wood stove here in Montana. Oh, I thought you were in Canada. I thought you were in
like
Canada.
glass panels, and those are the doors that we believe were propped open. So that's sort of the latest from here in Arizona. I'll keep you guys posted. But again, what I was able to just confirm is no signs of an assault inside Nancy's house.
Today I was digging on some stuff and was really looking into those heart monitors and those pacemakers and all that, right? And something a doctor spoke about the heart monitors and the pacemakers. And we're going to go over that in just a second, because this really makes me wonder, did something happen to Nancy way before? Way before. Because everyone says that Nancy's heart rate spiked or may have spiked. I could not find anything. Call me out, chat, if there's something. I have not seen Pima County, and of course FBI, they don't say anything about a spike. It was suggested by a doctor, right? Thank you, Deb. Thank you, darling. Hey, Miss Lori, 4 months, girlfriend. Thank you very much. Really, really do appreciate that. Very kind of you, Miss Lori. Thank you so much for your continued support, my friend. Really, really do appreciate that. I get that too, Andrea. I was more okay. All right. So check this out. Check this out before we go any further. This really makes me wonder if something happened to Nancy. Really, it could happen as soon as she walked in that garage door. Feels like this was a setup almost. And there's someone covering this up.
Not only has the ability to create a heartbeat, trigger the heart to beat, but it's also a sophisticated monitor of the patient's heart rhythm. And a pacemaker is programmed to check in once a day, just to check in with its communication device.
Okay, so it kind of tests itself. The pacemaker kind of tests itself. And he says that it normally does this of the morning, or sorry, like early in the morning, uh, usually while you're asleep. It's kind of testing out to make sure this connection is working good. Okay.
Device, and then ultimately the app that monitors it once a day. Typically, that
Oops. Oh, crap.
a pacemaker not only has the ability to create a heartbeat, trigger the heart to beat, but it's also a sophisticated monitor of the patient's heart rhythm. And a pacemaker is programmed to check in once a day, just to check in with its communication device, and then ultimately the app that monitors it once a day. Typically, that's at night. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's all it might have been doing. The other possibility is that it actually might have detected an arrhythmia.
Okay, now that's from CNN and the New York Post there. Rocco says, and I agree with him here, I question the no struggle. It was so bad that they knew it was against her will. How would they know that if there was no struggle? Or, and again, Brian Enton, he doesn't say necessarily no struggle. He says, what was the word he used? I'm trying to remember the word he used. 1 second. He says there was no sign of an assault. Assault. Now, again, assault is, right, someone more or less attacking you. But struggle, you don't necessarily, especially an 84-year-old, they don't have to fight with you either, right? So that kind of makes me wonder here what this actually means. Now, one thing about these pacemakers, they do, if the heart rate goes below a certain event, right? And let's just say this, because Nancy's 84 years old, the older you get, generally, your heart rate can go down, and then it can get very dangerous. And so many times, if your heart rate starts to go down to a significant event, right, it will try to pace that back up. It doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong with your heart. It's just beating at a lower rate. And so they will program, I've done all kinds of reading on this. They will program these pacemakers once they go below a certain beat per minute to increase your heart rate. Or even if it goes, yeah, what's that? Nancy's pacemaker is making contact with home device once in a 24-hour period. Yes. Was at home according to device during previous night, not pacemaker confirmation on her being home that night at all. So, yeah, we're gonna. There's some weird things here, and I always have an opinion, but this one I don't know. Michelle, thank you so much, Maya. Very kind of you. Really appreciate that. What time does Nancy take her meds? The medication still on the table. If she goes to bed around 10 p.m., well, she didn't get there till almost 10 p.m. I mean, I'm sure she would have, if she actually got there, she would have, I'm sure, just went straight to bed because she had to be up early the next morning, right? She would have taken it earlier and gone to bed. She didn't get home till like 9:45. Remember? I believe perps came earlier, maybe before 12 a.m. It's very likely, it's very possible. It could even be probable. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. Ugh, thank you so much, Michelle. Okay, so we know that her heart, her pacemaker, disconnected from her phone or a smart device, right? Now, if you go within a certain uh, distance, like if your bathroom's far enough, it can disconnect. That is nothing out of the ordinary. And so that's a big possibility, right? People's uh, pacemaker disconnects all the time, every day, multiple times, many times a day. If it's a Now, if it's connected to the smartwatch, the smartwatch is usually connected to the phone. However, regardless, your pacemaker is still essentially a computer within itself, and it records and logs certain key events in your heart. Okay. And whenever it gets to your phone or your smart device, it will connect to your phone, and that phone will download it, or upload it rather, to your computer that they give you at your house. So that disconnecting is interesting. Also, just because it doesn't, and let's get this I was really digging the whenever, like I said, it records an event, if you will, if your heartbeat goes too low or whatever. But what about a fairly sudden death, right? What about a fairly sudden death? People die suddenly all the time. We don't know uh, if that happened or not. And it is not 100% that it is going to record that. It doesn't record death, by the way, just so you know. It doesn't know if you're dead or alive. It really doesn't. All it does is pick up little portions of seismic events that could happen, or that did happen, but not always, right? This thing does not record your every heartbeat. It doesn't record every heartbeat. That would be so much data. It would be crazy. Is there anything about the case that isn't weird? Timeliness questionable. Nothing about the sheriff's office clerk. It gives snapshots. Yes, snapshots. Exactly. So the disconnecting, it could be something that it was checking its connection, which it will normally do around about, very early hours of the morning. It could mean the phone is already out of range, or the person is out of range. It could mean a weak signal, and so it drops. It could mean uh, something could have happened, and the system logs it later. And it's not like instantaneously as well. It's usually within a couple minutes. All right. Let's So the 228 timestamp does not mean something happened at that time frame. Now, also we're going to be talking about shoes. You know how people was saying that they don't seem that there's any steps, any footprints in the blood. Well, there might be. There might be. And I'll show you that here in just a second. I want to show you what Brian posted right here. Make sure you sub up to Brian. I want to show you. He gets really, really close to the house. And look at this.
Very dark here at night. And again, I'm going to be careful of the rattlesnakes because everybody's been telling me that.
Him and those
But yeah,
rattlesnakes.
we're on the side here.
It cracks me up there.
A lot of cactuses out here. I don't know what animals live in all these holes. There's little holes everywhere back here. But so this is the backside of Nancy's house here. So there's this little patio in the back, which we've seen from the drone. There's this door here, which again, initially thought there was a sliding glass door. It's not a sliding glass door. There's this.
I get the feeling Brian's not a country boy. I get the feeling. I grew up in the country, and that wouldn't have bothered me back in the day. Now it does bother me. So I get it, Brian.
It's just regular door with like glass panes on the top. So that's on one side of the overhang. You can see where there's the glass window here, which a lot of people thought was a sliding glass door. It's really a beautiful backyard.
Really is, but watch this.
People thought was a sliding.
You see, that's what I said last night. We all thought because it was high up, we couldn't see, so we could just see just parts of the window, and it looked like a sliding glass door, but there's a lot of windows right there, right?
Glass door. It's really a beautiful backyard. And then there's another door
right here, right? 3 doors, 1, 2, and then 3 down here
with a screen.
Nancy has like a potting station
right here on this edge of on this side of the outdoor area.
Oh, sorry. No, I take that back. There is one up here next to the garage, one right here, and then one down here.
Area. I'm told that screen was propped open.
Okay, this screen or the door? Brian's saying the screen. I mean, a screen door is a door, but that's not both doors, right?
And then in the Savannah interview, she said that that doors, plural, were propped open. But I'm told that screen right there was propped open.
So is it one door? Is it 2 doors? Is it only the screen door? Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't record every single thing, Bitter. You're right. It doesn't. It does not.
This is the outdoor area here in the back. Again, it's really just a beautiful house. I keep thinking about the fact that she lived here since the 1970s and all the memories that Savannah must have in the backyard. And then there's another.
See, that's the thing. Brian's saying that his sources is saying one screen door, one door. Now Savannah's saying 2 doors. Thank you, ST.
This is the casita over here. And there's obviously, you can't really see it through the brush. There's obviously a door into the casita, which is like the little guest house, which is next door. So, and again, I have permission to be back here. It is kind of weird being in the back. I'm not really in her backyard. I'm in someone else's backyard, but it's just.
That's right. And that's a very, very good point, right? Stickler, you might have to prop open a screen door because those tend to shut by themselves. They have this pump, if you will, and they automatically shut back. So why do we use those? Well, we usually use those whenever we want to keep a door open, just like when it's kind of like a thing you can prop the door open, right? You can prop a regular door open with a door stopper. You can prop it with the shoe or anything heavy enough. But a screen door automatically, most of them have that little bar thing with the pump so it kind of closes gentle, and also where you can keep it open. Yes. Yep. That's right, Brandy. Yes. That's what we're going to get to. Maureen said, door propped open with flower pot. And this is the thing. We're getting so much different information from different people. There's just no consistency in this case. Different people. It's like, are these sources like just telling us, the media, different things just to throw everybody off?
Strange to get this vantage point from the back. And again, this is what it looks like.
Never seen anything like that.
There's just a ton of like wooded area.
Got a question for my friends in Arizona. So this is kind of like a rocky, sandy area. Whenever you walk through this sandy stuff, does it leave shoe marks? Does it leave shoe marks in this sandy, rocky area?
Back here. That you can walk through. There's like little trails. It's not like in Florida where there's swamp or there's forest. It's really thick. It's hard to get through. I mean, you can walk around back here. You will see a ton of cactuses and you could stick yourself. I mean, everything has thorns out here. But it technically is.
I doubt it. I wonder if CSI and Ellie took the flower pot and held the door open. I don't think so, because remember, this is coming from Savannah, and this is what her sister and brother-in-law told her, right? Like when they got there, this is what happened. Boombastics, yes. Like, you mean with the tracks? I was kind of wondering, would it leave shoe marks? Would it leave shoe marks if you are in the area walking in this sandy, rocky stuff? I don't think it matters what the door was propped open with. I don't know. I think it might. I think it might. Did they take the flower pot? Did they take the flower pot? No ground as hard as clay. Thank you, Maria. Did they check it for DNA? They certainly didn't check the welcome mat. Certainly didn't check that.
Walkable.
Nanos.
And they did put these no trespassing signs up all around the house. So again, I'm not going to get too close. But even from this distance, you can see quite a bit the side of the house here. And that's what it looks like. I want to talk to Kurt Dabb, who is a former detective with the Pima County Sheriff's Office. He was there for decades.
Listen to this.
He came and met me, and that the house was clean. Some of the rooms were immaculate, but there were no visible signs inside.
So this guy's name is Kurt. One sec. Okay. He was former Pima County Sheriff's Office. He probably, they probably got rid of him because he was over the 3-year mark. They have rookies there.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I had heard that information early on. from some of the deputies that had responded that there didn't appear to be, the house wasn't in shambles. Again, I think what that says to me is these individuals felt comfortable being.
That's exactly right. Simply Real. Is LE basing the prop door on information from family? Again, it appears family may have been setting the stage or the script, in my opinion. And that's the thing, right? If, like, you obviously take what the family says, but you don't necessarily, um, does the evidence line up with what they're saying? It's making a lot of us crazy. Fake money. A lot of us. Justin, I saw the gardener take 3 flower pots with him, put them in his truck. A YouTuber was filming it about 2 weeks ago. But I will be, which is interesting. I hope that they took not the gardener, but I hope the FBI or the police, Pima County, took the flower pot that was allegedly propping the door open. But it wouldn't surprise me because, again, they didn't take the doormat. But I will say many times gardeners will take flower pots and they will plant plants in them and bring them back. So they don't have to like bring all the plants and stuff.
They were there for one thing and one thing only, it appears, and that was to take Nancy. Nothing
3
else
years.
was disturbed as
Only
far
3
as
or
we
4
know,
years.
on the outside.
I don't even the guy that was there 3 years, I don't even think he's ever been in a homicide investigation. I mean, he had never led, allegedly, a homicide investigation. And yeah, just give him like the highest profile case, certainly I would say, of 2026, right? Just go ahead and give him that, not only nationwide, but a worldwide case. Yeah, just give it to him. And by the way, have the sheriff, snuff at the FBI for the first 3 weeks, allegedly. That'll work.
Why do you think
What could go wrong? What could go wrong, y'all?
you would see the blood in the front of the house, but nothing inside?
Well, one of the things that, could happen, and I'm basing this on my training and experience. I don't know if this is the way things transpired, but it's one of the ways. If she was still ambulatory.
You're right, Oranges. You're right. But this is the thing. You know what worries me? You know what worries me? And Oranges is right. Everyone is a rookie at some point. Absolutely. But this is the thing. You know what Nano says? He says he doesn't, really look at the case. He doesn't really, he's not really involved. He's got really good guys. Like if he was a good sheriff and he was like overlooking the rookie, or someone's overlooking this rookie, but Nanos takes no accountability whatsoever. None at all. We're missing. I'm going to call the cops. If my mom were missing, I'm not going to call the fucking senator. Nanos, though, was lead on the shooting involving Gabby Giffords and the people of her appearance. Mark Kelly assured Savannah the family was in good hands, according to her. Yeah.
And being guided out of the house, whether or not she was bound, her hands or her mouth or anything.
Yep.
She could have put up a little bit of struggle at the door, knowing that, man, if I get out of here, this is the last chance that I have to put up.
And this is a very good point, right? I'm sure Nancy, because her daughter was in journalism and has seen a lot of cases and seen a lot of things over 84 years of her life. she would know, don't let them take you to a second location. Is that when she got to the door? Is that when she tried to fight back? Is that when she tried to fight back and started bleeding? She did wear hearing aids. She wore 2 hearing aids. I also remember that the family stating that Nancy would put up a fight as she was feisty. That was early on. Yes, everyone says that Nancy was feisty. But again, you might be feisty in certain aspects at 84 years old, but her body is different, right?
Up some type of resistance. So I think that may be what happened, and she might have got hit in the nose or the head, maybe with a fist or a weapon or an implement of some sort, because the blood spatter pattern that was in front of the door, it just looked like bleeding from a head wound or a nose wound, where the drips appeared to be just straight down and there was no direction of travel or direction of spatter or anything. It was just straight down.
When you go into a house as an investigator and it looks clean, I mean, someone's missing, but there's not, an area that's obvious, like, oh, something went down right here, there's a pool of blood, or, oh, there's all sorts of stuff thrown on the ground here. If it just looks clean, what do you do?
No, just the front door.
Well, you do a very good canvas of the scene.
Yeah.
You're going to protect everything that you can. You're going to have the forensic investigators come out, our photographers, and they're going to photograph, they're going to fingerprint, they're going to swab for DNA. But they're going to do that at the direction of the homicide detective. So just because, the house isn't in shambles, or...
Now let's think of this as well. Because Nancy's phone disconnected, we have to remember that doesn't mean she was alive. Doesn't mean she was alive. It means her phone was close to her body. That's what it means. It has nothing to do with her being alive. She could have been in that house dead for a long time. It just means her phone is connected to that device. That's it. Now, if you think about it, at 2:12 in the morning, there is a motion detected. And 2:28, it disconnects from her phone, or her phone shuts off. And it disconnects from her pacemaker. That means the 16-minute window is very critical. We know about the 43 minutes but a 16 minutes is very critical.
There's evidence of an assault or something like that. It doesn't mean that they're just going to bypass the house. They're still going to fingerprint it, DNA swab it, photograph it.
Does it make it harder?
In one aspect, yes, because you don't know if there was an assault that occurred because nothing got disturbed. But I think in the grand scheme of things, the biggest thing that matters is the blood spatter at the front of the door, because we know that there was an injury, and we know that that injury was to Nancy.
Well, the sheriff originally said it took them an hour, right? Like with the timeline, it was an hour until they called, but it was supposedly 8 minutes. 8 minutes, right? So it's very confusing. It's very confusing. I was also wondering about this blood at the door. I don't think this is likely. I want to say this, but I was just thinking of scenarios about that blood being at the door. Sometimes if you have something planned, right? Let's say, for instance, her family member, son-in-law, drops Nancy off in the driveway, right, as you're turning in, and she goes to the sidewalk where her front porch is, and maybe he's going to help her in or whatever. Let's say she was getting her key out of her pocket or her purse, and something happened while she was maybe getting her key out of her pocket or her purse at the front door, meaning as she was opening the door. As she was opening the door. We always think about Nancy as she's coming out. I don't think that is likely, but I'm trying to think of every single scenario. Every single scenario. Deb, thank you so much, my love. This appears to be the work of someone who knew Nancy's home intimately. This wasn't about money. If this, wasn't about money, then it may have been meant as a severe warning. This, in my opinion, was either about money, or she knew something, or she was she really pissed someone off. Me too, Sarah.
So it's just a little bit weird that there's not a lot of disarray in the house. But again, if this individual or individuals, as I believe that it's more than one, they had a plan and they carried it, to fruition successfully so far.
And you said before you think it's more than one.
Absolutely.
Again, he's former Pima County Police.
One of the theories that, yes, it's got to be one. Now, let's say, it could be many different theories, right? Everyone has their own theory. But I think, somewhere between 3 and 4, maybe 1 and 2, you have someone that's here stationed at the house waiting for her to come home, possibly. That individual goes in the house, subdues her. Another guy comes in front.
No.
She's, still ambulatory, let's say. And so they're guiding her out the house. And that's where the impact occurs and the blood spatter comes on the ground. Or, maybe there was 1 or 2 or more.
Yeah, a pacemaker just goes right under your skin, doesn't go really deep, and it has 2 wires generally.
Individuals, and they subdued her in the house and took her out, and the blood was a result of her in her, where the impact occurs, and let's say, and so they're guiding her out the house, and that's where the impact occurs and the blood spatter comes on the ground. Or, maybe there was 1 or 2 or more individuals and they subdued her in the house and took her out, and the blood was a result of an assault that occurred in the house and maybe didn't start bleeding through. Maybe they had her covered. So
Now, but this is the thing. This guy's talking about an assault in his theory. And Brian said at the beginning of this that there was no sign of an assault.
I think it's very highly unlikely that it's one individual. Is it possible? Yeah. I don't think one individual is going to carry a non-ambulatory 84-year-old woman out of the house. So if it was one individual, maybe, they got lucky, they were able to subdue her, enough to carry her out. But again, there was no car parked in the driveway that we could see. So, it leads me to believe that someone was parked down the street with a car. And if that's the case, you have two people here and you have one person in the car. So
If it's like 2, 3, 4 people,
Yes.
though.
Yes, Holly. And this is the thing. This is the thing that I always say. Holly says, I can't believe that a person or persons would risk life in prison to go through all of this with a victim in such bad physical health and 84 years old. Yes. And statistically, she would be dead because she's 84 years old. Statistically, she would be dead in a year. Who's going to do that? Someone that is desperate. That is in desperate need of something. Desperate relief of either financially in some aspect, or someone that is desperate to not get told on with some information, or someone that is rageful, vengeful, mad about something, feeling betrayed, wronged.
Do you think there's more of a chance that someone would have leaked by now,
Sure.
especially with the $1 million reward?
Sure, absolutely. One would think it would be probable.
I think it would be very possible that someone leaked something by now, unless it is someone who benefits, right? If you did this in the first place to benefit in some way, you're not going to tell. You might tell years later or later on. But someone who would, just some rando that was, doing this randomly or whatever, breaking and entering, they would say something. But someone very close who's going to benefit in this in some way, lips are sealed. That's why 1.275 million smackaroos. Come on.
That would happen. But we don't know what the motive was behind this. We don't know who benefits from this. And if you and I are going to go commit a crime like this, and I'm the one leading it, and I believe, loose lips sink ships, and I think, you may be up to something, who's to say that me as the bad guy wouldn't take you out either?
I usually don't believe the sedation thingy, but I will say in this case, I think it's possible. I think it's possible. Why do I say that? Because I'm just saying, I'm not blaming anyone specific. I'm giving a scenario. If she was at dinner or she was having a drink at someone's house, and for instance, let's say that happened, it's very possible. It's very possible. The problem with that is, what's the problem with that? Well, there's blood at the door. There's blood at the door. So something likely by the blood happened inside, or she could have, if she was placed inside, she could have been while moving, because her skin is so thin, because her skin is so thin, it wouldn't be hard to tear her skin. So that's possible as well. No, deceased people don't bleed. But if you have a wound, or your skin is torn in some way because it's so thin, even deceased, gravity rules always. Gravity rules always. Okay. Maria, thank you so much, my love. Appreciate you. Thank you so very much for your support. I really, really do appreciate that, my love. Good to see you, and thank you again. Do you think that it was intentional kidnapping, or I think this was, in my opinion, I think this was an intentional red rum, an intentional unaliving. This, I don't believe for a second, was a ransom. This was planned potentially weeks in advance, the 11th, the 31st, maybe even more. Planned, executed, carried out.
I got away with killing Nancy or disappearing Nancy. It wouldn't be too hard for, the leader of this group, if you will, to make that decision as well, to take out his partners.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're like, let's say, the getaway driver and the whole plan.
See, I don't think it was necessarily planned to look like a kidnapping with ransom. I think it came later. I think it came 24, 48 hours later. Oh, let's do this because that's kind of what everyone's talking about. And that's when these emails started going through. The sheriff knows a lot more, in my opinion. He says he does. He says we pretty much knew since the beginning about why this was done.
For Nancy not to die, for her to be okay, but just to get money. Yep. And now all this, didn't go the way they planned. And you're just the getaway driver. Couldn't you come to the detectives and say, look, like, I'm not the reason she died. I'll give you the info. If you,
sure.
I'll tell you.
That's probably not going to happen until arrests start getting made. The first one that gets arrested is the one that's going to get the sweetheart deal.
Seems like
if there is a sweetheart deal in this case. Usually in homicide investigations where there's more than one individual involved, one of those individuals will provide information and then possibly get a proffer from the prosecutor to not use any of that information to charge them. So yeah, it's absolutely a possibility.
Has that happened in cases you've worked?
Yeah. The majority of homicide cases are that way.
But usually there has to be one arrest first for it to sort of,
because
you need help.
In bad guy parlance, the first one arrested is usually the first one that talks. So all the other bad guys are out there, freaking out. Oh my God, he said something. And even if you didn't say anything, and I think you said something, now we're partners, but I think you're snitching on me. So, what am I going to do? What's my course of action?
So this is the closest we've gotten to the back of the house before. What stands out to you? Is this the closest you've seen it in person?
Yep, never been here.
What stands out to you?
Well, it's like...
Thank you so much, Country Bumpkin. Good to see you, my friend. Really do appreciate you. 17 months. You are a rock star. Thank you so much. That really, really do appreciate that. Who did she play that game with? Did they play for money? Good question. She played that game. What day was it? And I'll tell you. Let me see here. She had played that game like the day before. She had went missing. I don't know if they played for money. That's a good question. I have heard that Nancy would allegedly occasionally go to the casinos. The casinos. Justin, did the FBI ever, thank you so much for 17 months. Justin, did the FBI ever look into what the APS card put on her front door was about? It might just explain a lot. The Adult Protective Services, I'm sure that they definitely looked into it. But not, they haven't said anything about it. Right? Who was at dinner besides A and T? I've heard maybe one of like a child, but that's all that I've allegedly.
Like every other house in this and the surrounding neighborhood, it's very well covered by vegetation. It's very easy to sneak and snoop around without being observed.
Yeah. Especially at night, I bet. It's
Yeah.
really dark back here.
100%. And I mean, there's no streetlights here. You guys have gone over that, ad nauseum, but it's just true, without the streetlights, and especially, I don't know what the moon was that night, but if you have a partial moon or no moon, I mean, it is dark. It's dark. And if you're not looking for something specifically, the chances of you seeing something is, next to impossible.
What about the doors being propped open in the back, now that you can see the doors?
Well, yeah, I see that there are 3 doors back there. And the information, I guess, that I was provided, I think by you guys talking with you and listening, to some news snippets is, yeah, a door was propped open, or maybe 2. I'd like to know which ones. I think everybody would, but, that would lead to a scout, or a recon.
Wait a second.
In the next to impossible.
What?
The chances of you seeing something is, next to impossible.
What about the doors being propped open in the back, now that you can see the doors?
Well, yeah, I see that there are 3 doors back there. And the information, I guess, that I was provided, I think by you guys talking with you and listening, to some news snippets is, yeah, a door was propped open, or maybe 2. I'd like to know which ones. I think everybody would, but, that would lead to a scout, or a recon of the place, right? Because you got to know your avenues of approach in order to set up something like that. I mean, that tells me that this thing was planned. It wasn't, a one-off.
Exactly. And what's weird to me is that car being seen in the evening time around. Nancy would have probably been at her daughter's and her son-in-law's, and it makes me wonder, again, you can assume anyone's going to be home at 84 years old at 2 a.m. in the morning, but you don't know. And you got to think about, again, after she was dropped off, did something happen a lot sooner than we're being told? Because we know that they were there minimum of 40 some minutes. But again, they don't have all of the camera information. They don't have all the camera information.
Yeah, that goes back to the January 11th date, those dates that we've talked about from before,
Yep.
where someone was probably here looking around.
Dogs in the neighborhood were barking was
Yeah.
one of the things,
Yeah.
and maybe that's how they got those dates. And yeah, that's dogs see all kinds of stuff at night. You know, they have great eyesight, great smell. So yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about one of the neighbors. The dog woke up in the middle of the night. It was wanted to go out right around the time that Nancy went missing too, and just looked in the direction of Nancy's house. This is one of the neighbors right over here, which he said the dog never normally does that.
Yeah.
It was like 1 in the morning.
Yeah,
that's strange.
Yeah, it's a clue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a clue. It's something that the investigators need to look at, 100%.
In terms of this area where we are now, I mean, do you think? And first of all these people have dogs around here. So I'm just, and if someone tried to come through here in the night, I mean, do you think that's a possibility? They came in through the back, or do you think they just went around Nancy's house?
Yeah, it's absolutely a possibility. It's probably, I mean, if I was going to do something like this, yeah, I would not come up the front. I would drive through the neighborhood a couple of days, you know, just to get the lay of the land. And
Well, they may come through the back. They might come through the back, but they had to they didn't carry her out the back. Like out the back through the backyard. There's no way in hell that they carried her back there like that. 2 dozen roses. Thank you so much, my love. Appreciate that. That is so sweet. Thank you so very much for your support. I really, really do appreciate that, my love. Very, very kind of you. Oh my God, your little chihuahua. I had a chihuahua years and years ago. It reminds me, her name was Macy. That reminds me of my little Macy. She's so cute. Mine wasn't long hair though, but she was that color, and then she had a little more white on her. That's so cute. Thank you so much, my dear. Appreciate that very much. You see the little chihuahua? It's a chihuahua, and maybe they're both chihuahuas. The other one's laying down with. So cute. I love chihuahuas. They might be little, but they are fierce.
do your scout, look for cameras on porches and telephone poles, and then, you know, make your the decision about where you're going to go. And coming in through the back, I mean, it just makes perfect sense.
With the back door, let's assume it was propped open like Savannah Guthrie said, her doors. We know there was blood in the front. What's your theory? Do you think they came in through the back and then left through the front, or like how do you see it in your head based on what we've heard?
Yeah, why is the back door propped open? Like, if the back door was propped open and you think someone would be inside, you would think the front door would be opened or unlocked as well.
Remember them checking out the gate? Remember them checking out that gate? They kept looking at that gate. May mean nothing. May have just seen how it opened or whatever. But they were really eyeing that gate.
But maybe not, because they didn't know how she was going
pull up something.
you know,
Look at
enter the
this.
residence. But yeah, I don't know if someone was waiting inside, or maybe they came and did it earlier. You know, they were scouting a location. They saw her leave. Now's our chance. You know, let's get it.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that really bothers me, I'm not going to lie, is what she did that evening. That evening, she didn't get home till almost 10 o'clock. I really want to know how often she went and had these dinners, how late. Is that what they said, Kelly? That big gate was propped open? I haven't heard that. Was the front door locked? Nobody has said. Don't know. But it bothers me that she was, you know, picked up at the 5-ish something. Let me pull this up here. The 5-ish hour. Okay, here we go. Timelines. Here it is. And then it 10 something. And then just a few hours later, out of all days, this is when it happened. Could be that, you just wonder, was there this conversation that happened? Yes, Justin, with the flower pot per Banfield. The gate was open. The gate going out to the yard.
It'd be really nice to know how they
It's
got
hard,
in the back,
yeah.
how they prop open, how did they gain entry into the house. Like there's no information from the sheriff's department at all that there was forced entry anywhere, and the main house or the pool house. So that's a very big tell about how well this was planned if they were able to go in without forcing entry.
And Nancy may have just left her back door open.
Quite possibly.
I mean, people around here do that.
Yeah.
Unlocked.
No. No.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. This, I'm telling you, I don't give a damn, in my opinion. I don't think for a second an 84-year-old woman who already is concerned about safety. You don't have cameras if you're not concerned about safety. Like there wasn't any cameras, people, you might be concerned about safety, but people who have cameras are specifically concerned about safety. That is supporting evidence that you are concerned about safety if you have cameras. 84 years old, living alone. Mm-mm. Don't believe it. I agree with him 100%. Agree with him 100%. Yeah, she didn't lock. She didn't keep her back doors unlocked. Mm-mm. Yeah. And again, how did this person get in? How to get in? That we don't see any evidence that there is, damage to any doors or anything. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not
Let's say that again.
forcing entry.
And Nancy may have just left her back door open.
Quite possibly.
I mean, people around here do that.
Yeah.
Unlocked.
No. No, not up here. People like to protect their property. Tucson, Pima County is a very violent place. There's an awful lot of burglaries. I'm from a small town in Michigan where I grew up, and we didn't lock our doors. We didn't lock our cars. Maybe it's just me, but my neighbors, I was a cop, my car's parked out front. I lock my doors, they lock their doors. So I think pretty much everybody up here locks their doors. But sometimes we forget,
When I was just wondering, with her living here since the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
maybe she just got comfortable, you know?
Quite possibly.
So there are a lot of burglaries?
Yeah, there's a lot of burglaries in Tucson. I don't know, up in this neck of the woods, there are burglaries, but they usually happen during the daytime when everybody's at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had a couple, where they're at nighttime, a couple up in this area, where it happened in the afternoon, but it's not an everyday occurrence, but they do happen. People like to protect their stuff. So.
Oh,
To
Deb,
me, the burglary gone wrong.
Deb, I guarantee you that this person has been in Nancy's house. This person has certainly been in Nancy's house, has met Nancy. Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget the staging part that we're all clearly seeing. It's not going to make sense if we don't remember that part. What do you think? What do you mean it's this the staging part? That's not a burglary, though. No. Listen, people don't generally plan unless it's like really, really like maybe a museum or something where they'll plan something weeks in advance. But again, nothing was taken. Uh, Everything was, and again, like Brian said, there was parts of in the house that was immaculate, right? Hey, Mousy. A stickler. Elderly people sometimes forget to lock house doors and car doors. Not everyone remembers. Yeah, but here's the thing. I think you tend to remember more whenever you live alone. I really do. I really do.
Theory is just
And when you have cameras,
not possible at this point.
I agree.
It doesn't seem like it makes sense to me.
I mean, the only time a burglary would come up into this is it's a lesser and included charge in homicide / kidnapping for this investigation, because burglary is breaking and entering into somebody's property with the intent to steal something, a theft, or commit a felony therein.
The only thing that we knew was stolen was Nancy.
And so it would be a charge if they arrested somebody. They'd be charged if it turns out to be a homicide with a homicide, kidnapping, and a burglary charge. So, but people don't show up to houses with a backpack full.
I understand neighbors who may live with others and are younger might not lock their doors, but I don't see it for an 84-year-old who lives alone with cameras. And I'm sure that, okay, think about this. If you knew your 84-year-old mother didn't lock her doors, wouldn't you get on to her?
Full to commit a burglary,
Right.
in my experience.
And it was such a full bag. I forgot
Yeah,
about that. I mean, it was like jam full.
He had his kidnapping kit in there.
Yeah.
This is what I believe.
What stood out to you? You mentioned to me the drone video you saw, and you could tell what some of the investigators were doing.
Yeah, it was early on, probably within the first week or so, or maybe the second week. The FBI came back and they were taking the cameras off the roof of the house, and I think the other pool house. But during that time, I saw forensic investigators taking photographs, and what appeared to be to me was perspective shots.
I'm an old codger who doesn't live alone, and most of my doors automatically lock when they close, but there's a couple that doesn't, and I make sure that they're locked.
Which would be, you have information that somebody is standing in a particular location. Let's say an officer-involved shooting, for instance. The next day, everyone will come together, the photographers, the prosecutor will come out, and you'll do a walk around, and they'll ask the officer or deputy, where were you standing when you shot? So what they would do is they would stand where they were, and then a photographer would come from behind them and, take a perspective shot as what that deputy or officer is seeing. So when I saw that, a number of weeks ago, it was weird to me because there was no information about a shooting. However, there were cameras, I guess, on the roof.
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Prosecutor will come out and you'll do a walk around, and they'll ask the officer or deputy, where were you standing when you shot? So what they would do is they would stand where they were, and then a photographer would come from behind them and, take a perspective shot as what that deputy or officer is seeing.
His point of view.
So when I saw that, a number of weeks ago, it was weird to me because there was no information about a shooting. However, there were cameras, I guess, on the roofs, and maybe they were using those perspective shots to, get height, some type of measurement or something like that. But that's what it appeared they were doing when I saw that.
So you think it's for height?
It could be for a number of things. It could be for height. It could be just getting a perspective of if someone was to jump over this wall at this location, you know, what are they going to be seeing?
Have you seen them do that before? Like just, you know, non-officer involved?
No. Usually in homicide investigations where there is a shooting involved, or, you know, an assault or a stabbing or something like that, that's, you know, where those things would come into play.
So it's now been almost 2 months since we first met, when we first got here, you know. I'm just trying to think back to when we first started talking. I think, you know, I was hopeful that, you know, maybe in a couple of weeks things were going to move quickly.
That's
FBI
very
involved.
interesting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts now that it's been 2 months?
Well, I think in that first interview, you know, I said, man, this looks like a real professional deal. And then, you know, I kind of went, well, this guy's like fumbling around, you know, maybe it's not professional, you know, maybe he's just an idiot. Well, he is an idiot, that's for sure. But
Definitely an idiot.
it is just, it's mind-boggling. Whether this was a professional thing and there was no who benefits from it, maybe they benefit, you know, maybe it was something that was done to get back at the family, you know, for some reason. But it is,
maybe they benefit for. Listen, we all do things for a reason. Everything we do, we do for a reason. You definitely do unaliving someone or breaking in their house for a reason, right? It's either going to be to steal something because you want that for whatever reason, usually valuables for money, or to steal money inside of a house, or you have a grudge against the person, right? Or it benefits you later that they are decedents, that they're dead. Very few people, unless you're a serial unaliver, just goes and unalive someone just because, I mean, those people are just evil, right? There's very few people that just go serial unalive people. Very, very rare. And again, 96% of cases is someone very close to you. You're more likely to be unalived by someone inside your home or knows you, family, friends, co-workers, acquaintances, because there's an emotion behind it. They have some relationship with you.
they were either really, really, really pros.
I mean, already that the time, think about this. The time this crime happened, 96% off the bat, it was someone that knew Nancy. Before we knew anything. Now, could her case, right, be in the anywhere from the 4 to 6%? Yeah, of course it could. Of course it could. But before we know anything, and if someone is most likely unalived by this, 96%, it's somebody that knows her. And that's before we know anything. Statistically.
We're really, really, really lucky so far. And I think it's a mixture of the two right now. I think you got to have some facet of experience and training to carry out something like this and be successful for 2 months.
Yeah, so many of the law enforcement experts I've interviewed, like you, have started off saying, gosh, this looks like an idiot. The gun was out, to picking the grass up, to then kind of saying, well, I I don't know, maybe. And now they were kind of shifting to like, I think this may have been more professional than we.
So this is the thing. I really don't know. I really don't know. But what I will say is I absolutely believe they knew Nancy. 1,000%. They had some acquaintance with her. But my question is, let's say it's an electrician, right? Let's just say it's an electrician. What does the electrician gain? What does the electrician gain by doing this? Now, they could have borrowed money privately. They could have messed up something like a contractor and Nancy was going to sue, or Nancy knew something. But what does like a contractor gain? Contractors do this, right? Like people that's been in your house. But I don't think, in my opinion, like Annie or Tommaso, or any of the family was I don't think that they, in my opinion, I don't think they was the people at the house that night. Could be wrong, but I don't think that they were the people. I think if now hired, could be different. But Nancy's lived there since the 70s. She knows a lot of people. How long before she's declared dead? That it takes, and that's another good point, Kiwi. How long before she's declared dead and her assets distributed to her family when no body has been found? Years. Generally years. And you think about that. Well, she would most likely have already, statistically, she would be dead in a year. Because she's 84 years old. Average life is 78 for a woman. Yes, absolutely. Someone could have hated Nancy because she stopped giving money, or she was going to tell someone that, hey, this person's, been borrowing money. I'm going to take him to court or whatever. That's another thing. Though, right? If there is, we don't know if there was any trust or any certain things in a will that, in the likely of, being incapacitated or whatever, could something change? Yes, very possible. Those things can change as well.
Well, I think the longer that this goes, everyone's theory is going to evolve, right? Yeah. Everybody's just trying so hard to figure out the clues with the very limited amount of clues that we have. And I myself, much like you, and I think many other people, thought once the FBI was involved, I mean, They got El Mencho down in Mexico, you know, they got Maduro down in, you know, Venezuela, and, you know, they can find people in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was just very surprising to me. One of the things that someone brought up on another podcast about a week ago that I did, they asked about satellite imagery, and I'm like, oh, satellite imagery, that's thinking outside the box, right? So who do you reach out to find out if there were any satellites above, if they have the capability of capturing video or photographs? How the hell do you write a search warrant for something like that as a local cop? And, you know, who are these entities? So, you know, that's another thing that, you know, thinking outside the box that possibly could be used, that I don't know if it was or not.
Especially with like FBI.
Yes, there are satellites. There is one or two companies out there that can do it. And again, it depends where the satellite is at the time. But sometimes they can check at certain hours or days as well. Government can do it, but they don't talk about it. They don't talk about their capabilities. Michelle, thank you so much, my love. In my opinion, the perps that took her to her demise are not the people who did this to Nancy. The person paid them with the person with a grudge. Agree. I agree. And that says the person, they won't, Cassie. They won't. They don't even do it for like really, really high profile people. They won't do it. It's you would think that people would, but they wouldn't. They don't. And that says kind of like they don't want to get their hands dirty, right? They don't want to get their hands dirty. They want it. On the interview room tonight, they showed pics of boxes taken out of Nancy's house. It looked like Nancy's house today. It looked like Annie. What do you mean, Serenity? Like, thank you for that, baby. Hold on, let me see. I didn't know Chris was live tonight. Okay. Why was Savannah considering leaving ABC? She's not with ABC, Miss Queens. There's no evidence that I'm aware of that she was planning to leave. Justin, I've been trying to reach you. Can you please check your phone, please? Yes. When did you text me? Something I found 9 to 14 mark is interesting. Haven't finished it yet. 9 to 14 mark. What's this? 1 second. 9. Ooh. March 20th? Guests include Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos and Tim Steller, a columnist from the Arizona Daily Star, also Weekend Watch with 101.7 The Drive. Thank you for that. We'll go over that. Tomorrow they are going to be passing. Tomorrow there's going to be 6 YouTubers passing out flyers with the reward Nancy and the perp on it. Let me see here. When did she message back? Okay. Let me see what they said in chat. Chicky, what did Chicky say? This is the kind of hit that was paid, and they really did a good job. Well, you know something? Okay, yeah, I got that one. Thank you so much, Nancy. Yeah, I watched that too. It was her car and Annie taking boxes out. Got a question. Let's do it. You know what? Let's do a poll. Would you take boxes out of mom's house when you don't know what happened to her yet? Yes, no, unsure. All right, do this. Put a 1 in chat. Would you, if you were in a position, would you put 1, 2, or 3? 1 yes, 2 no, 3 unsure. And it'll add it to the poll. If you didn't know, I mean, I think we can safely say pretty well that Nancy's probably not alive, because this person is not coming forward anymore for money or anything like that. I'm pretty sure we can. Would you take boxes out of a house? How many boxes was there? If that was food, yes. That's a point. That's a good point. Showing Annie and someone else taking boxes out of the garage. Criminal Network. Let me go to that. Let me look at that real quick. Criminal Network X. Let's see here. Criminal Network. Nancy Guthrie joined a house question, been empty for years. Okay. I'm looking to see if there was anything taken. I don't see them taking anything out yet. Sheriff deputies have gone back to nearly. Neighbor's house after waiting 20 minutes without a response to knocking. Someone will have to send me that. I don't see it anywhere. Did y'all see this? Look at this picture. Let me show you this picture. Does anyone... I don't... I'm kind of superstitious with things. Do y'all think this means anything? Let me look here. Check this out. Did y'all see this? This owl over Nancy's door. Cute little owl. I wonder what that means. What does an owl represent? Flying your house. An owl flying or landing on your house generally symbolizes a powerful message regarding transformation, intuition, or need to rely on inner wisdom. While historically seen in some cultures as Wow. A portent of death or bad luck, many modern interpretations view as them as protective wise or a sign of impending personal change. Spiritual message. Many see owls as messengers from the spirit realm, encouraging you to pay attention to your instincts and trust your inner voice. Transition and change. An owl's presence often indicates a significant life change, transition, or spiritual growth is approaching. Owls are often considered protectors or guardians of the home, associated with the wisdom to see beyond illusions. Wow. It's a cute little owl, isn't it? Like, that's a cute little owl. Oh, it kind of makes me just so sad, y'all. So sad. And that's so sad, man. Thank you, Serenity. It took my husband and I 3 years to clean out my mom's house completely. It was painful for him. So, my mama, she was technically my grandmother. She raised me and I took care of her till the day she died. After she died, I didn't probably go in her room for a year. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I didn't go in for a year, at least. Couldn't do it. Everyone's different, though. Some people want to be in there. But I didn't. I just couldn't do it. It was too much. But everyone's different. You know, said Nancy's had come back as a bird yesterday, and so the owl is Nancy. I don't know. I think it's hey Karen, why would things need to be removed for safekeeping if they updated the security systems? I agree. Justin, they have a fake owl with a camera in the eye. Yeah, that's not a fake owl though. That's a real owl. I promise you that. That's a real owl. But it's just so interesting that owl is right above the doorway where the blood was and stuff. And it's just looking, it makes me want to cry when I see that. I don't know why, but it just makes me want to cry. Okay. If you want to talk after this, Chicky, we can talk. I can talk to you after this. That's okay. Okay.
BI involved now. There's all sorts of.
And they've got all the technology. That's why it's very, the geofencing thing where, you know, you put up a theoretical fence around an area, you know, around this 1 or 2 mile area, so you can see what cell phones were being used at that time. And the fact that
I think I am, Lori. I think I am.
As far as we know, you know, they don't have any putting anybody here, but then there was that information about the jammer and all that stuff. I thought that was malarkey.
Yeah, Shannon.
But people use it. You can buy them on Amazon for, you know, a couple bucks. So
would I keep the house under these circumstances? I mean, I think they're going to have to keep the house unless something is otherwise, what's the word I'm looking for? Unless there was already an arrangement, if in the, you know, if she would go, that's already under law, that if she would go missing or be deceased or incapacitated.
I think that these individuals, I think this was a well-planned and a well-executed caper, unfortunately.
Do you think the person or people responsible are close by?
What do you mean by close by?
In Tucson?
I mean, I would think that they would keep the house forever, or or, because it's been there since the 70s, that
Like
it was
in
their
the Tucson
childhood
area?
home.
someone from Tucson responsible, or do you think they're still in the area?
Do you think
and
they're
from
still in the
outside?
area?
Probably shall.
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Whether or not they're from the area or whether or not they're still here, I don't know.
Really, Kelly?
I've just thought, since if it's
Burrowing
true that
out,
the
so
person
cute.
cased the house January 11th, which would have been 3 weeks before,
Yep.
that'd be a long way if you're from another state or something to come
Sure.
back over and over again.
Sure.
Also, Nancy Guthrie is kind of a random person to hold for ransom. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it almost seems like it would be a local who would know that she lived here and would think that would be a good ransom person.
Well, yeah, but I think the first time I found out about Savannah was last year or something, when they did that hometown thing, and it was on the news here. So, I mean, anybody could have seen that. And I mean, they just had the anniversary of John Hinckley, shooting Reagan. That guy was crazy. And, other celebrities have gone through things with, and even not. I mean, Lieutenant Bob Krieger, retired sheriff's, department.
Really, Nadia? I
That's
haven't
been
seen
on your
that.
show and spoke with you. He had a stalker. I mean,
did he
so
really? You
sure.
never told me that. Wow.
Yeah. So when you get somebody that that has, and I'm not saying that this is the result of some mentally deranged individual. I don't think that. I think it's just a well-planned operation, and we still don't know what the motive is yet.
And just lastly, how would you describe the
I think it's very well planned as well.
mood in Tucson right now? I mean, are people frustrated? Are they surprised it's still gone? Are people moved on?
I think it's a mixture of all of them,
I
right?
found
I think some
something of
people have
Nando's I
moved
wanna show
on.
you on
Some
a
people are
second.
like, "Oh my God, thank you." There's thousands of other missing people, and they need media too. I think a lot of people were really disheartened when
Yeah,
you
Italian.
and
You're right,
the
honey.
other media entities
right.
left, because it's not, when you're not doing things here, you're not drawing publicity to the case, which is important for something like this, especially because it's
Something Italian. I wish I had a good relationship with my mom. Not everyone does. My birth mother, I didn't have a good relationship with for a long, long time. She didn't raise me or anything. But what I do now, I make sure my birth mother has everything she needs and all that. But I take the good from her, and the things that I can't, like, really trouble me, I just tell myself she was once a kid. She's every parent was once a child as well, and they have their own issues, and I just let it pass. I just let it pass. You know what I mean? So if same Italian, same. So I get it. But if you can just take the good parts of the relationship and the things that I used to bitch and complain to her all the time, and she was just, you have to be ready to change for your own self. You know what I mean? You just have to be ready to change for your own self. And no matter how much I bitched or complained or whatever, wasn't going to work. So I take the good parts and I just roll my eyes heavily at the rest. We give up on relationships very easily nowadays. I'm not saying you in particular, but in general, as a society, we just are like, we get mad at one thing and we're like, fuck you, and just move on. And we're just never going to agree 100% with even our most closest loved ones 100% of the time. And it's try not to, just try to take the best with the things you do appreciate. Yeah. Mine's had cancer twice. Same, we're in the same boat, Italian. Exactly the same boat, it sounds like. It should be. It should be. He really should be. You know, and we all don't, and let me tell you something, we all don't get the parent card. If you have one good parent, let alone two good parents, you're extremely blessed. Extremely blessed. But if you have someone that cares for you and love for you, you're very blessed as well.
So old, you know, I mean, it is extremely cold, if you will, because it's been so long. Doesn't mean that the investigation has gone cold, but the initial hoopla, you know, so, and then, you know, there are people that, you know, just don't care. And that's unfortunate because, you know, they may be somebody that sees something or hears something and they're not going to say anything because they just don't care. So, but I think most of the local community in Tucson and Pima County, even the state of Arizona, is still very much.
But you know, I think of people like Summer Wells. You know, can you imagine your parents being Don or Candace Wells? Can you imagine your parents being like, or your stepdad being Daniel Martell or Malaya? You know what I mean? Like, those kids were so wronged. So wronged. Like, you know, we can, you know, nothing is 100% perfect in life, ever. But think about just the sheer abuse that those babies went through. You know what I mean?
Much enthralled with this investigation and want to see it come to some type of fruition.
All right, so I really appreciate Kurt for taking the time to talk with me. It's been nice to kind of get.
Okay, someone just sent me this interview. Remember that interview? Brian played like a little clip of it. I was wondering where the hell this interview was, but they got the full interview, but they wanted me to play a hold on one second. Wait a second. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Remember he did like an AM interview? They wanted me to listen to a part starting at 9 minutes. Give me a second. Okay.
What I'm saying, the conversation I had with NBC News was about theories. And, I gave my theory. Others have thought.
This was an interview that has, this was on an AM radio. And they said that he was very, very comfortable in this interview. But they wanted me to listen to 8 to 12 minutes.
Given their theories, maybe it was a burglary gone bad, all those things. But for my community, I would never tell them, yeah, don't worry about it. Just relax. This was the Guthrie family. No, that's not what we want to tell our community. And from a law enforcement perspective,
I'm going to have to listen to this whole
we want you to be safe, secure in your homes, blocking your doors, paying attention to your surroundings. If you see something, say something. Just be safe.
Do you want to summarize then what is your theory? Why don't maybe that would be helpful for
I believe.
Can you share with it what is your theory of what happened? Okay. This is Chris Nanos, whatever.
What I would tell you is I believe that Nancy Guthrie was removed from her home against her will.
I believe Nancy Guthrie was removed from her home against her will. Yeah.
That is a kidnapping.
That is a kidnapping.
Beyond that, everything else is just. We'll see. We'll let the evidence take us there. I think somebody had an argument with me, or discussion, I'll say, about this photo of remember the photo we gave at the man at the front door with the backpack on.
Right.
There's another photo of him without a backpack on. It was released the same day we released it all.
Yes.
And people speculated that they're two different times and two different days. And it went crazy. And what I told them was simply this. We have nothing in front of us. There's no time or date stamp on the photos that says those photos were taken at two different times. So
that is true, but you can tell they're from two different times. Yeah, maybe incapacity while taken out, man. Yeah.
it would be irresponsible.
Most people has never heard this entire interview.
For me
I'm
to
not gonna
say,
play it all,
yes,
but
we think they're two different photos, two different days, two different. No, what we said was, here's the photos we
you're
have from the
fine.
front door of that residence at that, what we believe is that time, because we know the camera is removed. So we're sharing with the public everything we can to say, identify this person. When
Okay.
they took place or where,
All right.
that's all speculation.
Tim, you want to jump in again?
Sure. Yeah. What are we giving up in our other public safety pursuits when we have, I assume, still a large number of people dedicated to trying to solve this case? That is, a person who's doing one thing is not doing another thing. So people dedicated to this
Are we
investigation.
getting are we getting less service from
No.
the Pima County Sheriff's Department?
Absolutely not. Let me say this. You're correct. These large cases takes a lot of manpower, particularly initially, early on. Think of Gabby Giffords. You saw that parking lot, hundreds of them. We have now time with missing persons until we can't go any further. This case, we're still working it. Most of the missing person cases we see typically are hikers, get lost in the.
He didn't portray our community, and when you were on national TV.
Say all those things, do all those things. We know part of the problem is in law enforcement, we know a lot more than you'll ever know, but it's for a reason. We know we have to get the help from our media and our community in solving some crimes, but that doesn't mean we just share the whole case with you.
Yeah.
we know a lot more than you'll ever know. I think they're waiting for DNA as well, but I think it could take a while. All right, guys. Remember the blood stain? Remember the blood stain? Right? Remember that right there? Okay. Remember, you see, not the big patch, but the one closer to us in the screen there. You see how there's there's some dots in there? There's a specific pattern in one. Nancy brings a really good theory up here. I'm not sure if I agree with it, but I appreciate that they looked at this and look at that. Watch this. Hold on.
That the backpack was an Ozark Trail backpack from Walmart, but Ozark Trail.
You see how this has, let me see if I can pop this up now. See how it's got that triangle looking thing right there? If that's foliage on the mat from Porch Guy. Yes, that is foliage. Yes.
Shoes. I want you to look at the bottom of the tread and compare it.
They should have taken that mat and put it in evidence and shaken every fucking thing out of that mat. Fibers, hairs, dirt, plants, vegetation.
To blood found outside Nancy Guthrie's front door.
See it right there?
Yeah.
They're talking about this kind of triangle, right? And then right here, it's kind of like another triangle, but just really small.
You take a look at this image, Nancy, and you begin to think about, well, is there any kind of discernible tread pattern that is contained in there? Now, let me preface this by saying that the image that you're seeing with the blood droplets, that's not coming from the police. That's coming from somebody in the press, okay? So the quality of that image will be enhanced relative to the pictures that they took as crime scene investigators. So you'll be able to see more fine detail in that. Now, why is this important? It's important when you begin to think about that Ozark Trail tread there. And our tread on our shoes is very distinct.
Ozark Trail tread.
To us in the way.
Now, something that's very interesting in true crime. People, the perpetrator, generally, one thing that they forget about is their shoes. And your shoes carry a lot of things, right?
That we walk
a lot.
So what they're looking for, first off, is a general categorization of these treads. Is it something that could potentially be, looking at the image of the blood, is there an image that is consistent with the tread pattern on the Ozark tread, on the Ozark shoes? Now, if that is in fact the case, if they are able to get their hands on shoes, like shoes, for instance, they would do a comparison at that moment in time, particularly if they find them with a suspect, Nancy. And what's going to make those particularly identifiable is the wear pattern. How do we wear our shoes? Do we pronate, supinate? Are we heel strikers? Are we toe strikers? You begin to think about that, and that will come through in that image.
Yes. How you step changes the pattern as well. Now, let's look at something here. Because you can see this guy's shoes right in the video. Those aren't Ozark shoes that I'm aware of. Does that mean there's someone else? Or is it just nothing?
Okay, I want to talk to you about the Ozark Trail shoes. Mm-hmm. And we had been looking at various shoes to determine their shoe patterns on the bottom, their tread marks. This is from a photo I found on X from a guy who talks shit on X. His words, not mine. Now, we're seeing the bottom of the pattern. I want you to look at the Ozark Trail shoe itself. Here is a side shot of the Ozark Trail men's low hiker boots. Now, let's compare that to the video of the porch guy. Let's look at his shoes. Joe Scott, they actually look more like the Ozark Trail shoe than they do.
Really? Does it? Is Ozark, is that a expensive brand? Oh no, they sell them at Walmart. Oh, holy shit, I just looked it up. If you type in Ozark Trail tread shoes bottom, or just Ozark, it goes to Walmart. First, all the websites are Walmart. So is Ozark only Walmart? Holy shit. This is interesting now. I thought it was BS.
They actually look more like the Ozark Trail shoe than they do, for instance, a regular pair of Nikes or tennis shoes with stripes down the side or a logo.
Yeah, and there's very distinctive pattern here, Nancy, that let me just, kind of frame this up for you.
Yes.
With the FBI, with their digital folks that are taking a look at these images, if they trim this out and they focus in on these particular shoes, they'll be able to super enhance these. This video is so good compared to a lot of the stuff I've seen over the years relative to specific types of shoes. they can enhance this image to the point where I think that they could probably come up with branding, and what you're looking for are specific identifiers. If you take a look at the tip of that shoe, you've got the rubber sole that actually rises up to meet the toes. All right. Look at that. And then you look at that kind of striped area that's kind of highlighted. If you can really see it on the heel of this shoe. Well, that's unique to that shoe. And Nancy, in forensic science, that comes down to something. There's a principle that we have that's referred to as individualization. That means that we're tying specific brands, items back to a particular person.
Yeah, that's their design. That's part of their trade, if you will. Look at this, what I just found. Holy shit. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait a second. Let me back this up.
Specific brands.
Okay, there's the back. Is that? Let me show you this, guys.
Items back to a particular.
Okay, let me pull this up. Check this out, guys. 1 second. Upload. Look at these shoes. Very interesting.
Particular person. And so all of those, when you take that total aggregate there and you kind of shake it down, you're looking for something that is going to be unique to that individual. Where could he have purchased these shoes? Do they show any kind of wear on them on the sides at all? And again, through the enhancement, perhaps the digital enhancement that the FBI is going to render up, that's going to be a very specific identifier for these. And again, going back to branding, we talked about the book bag, we've talked about the shoes. Oh yeah, by the way, what about the holster as well? Remember, there was talk that was potentially purchased.
Now, look at this. Look at this one. Let me pull this one up. This is Ozark as well. Look at there. Yeah. I believe this was bought specifically just for the crime.
Through Walmart, either online or maybe at a store itself. So you've got 3 things here that we're looking at.
I want to talk to you also, Joe Scott Morgan, about speculation that blood was found inside Nancy Guthrie's front door.
Yep.
If there was a rug there, like an entrance hall, an entrance area rug that's very, very common, that may have, those blood spots may have escaped detection because it blends in with a rug. How do you go about getting blood spatter, if there is any, from off the rug?
Well, you're not going to get it off. It's an excellent question. You're not going to get it off. You don't want to remove it, but what you want to do is test it. Okay. So what they're going to do first, and this is kind of fascinating, people might be interested in this. If they take that rug, they're going to subject it to alternative light sources back at the state crime lab or with the FBI. And what that means is they're going to utilize things like infrared photography, and they're going to see if they can't enhance any kind of stains that might be on that rug. Now, can we definitively say that that stain came about as a result of this event with her? No, we can't necessarily say that. However, the presence of some kind of biological sample there is significant. So what you want to do for
Joe Scott, please come out of your ivory tower for just one moment. There's blood on her front porch. If there's blood just on the inside of the door, what do you think? She cut her leg shaving right there? Of course it's connected.
Well, it could very well be, and it could be that she had a spontaneous bloody nose as well. And I think that people would argue that.
Put him up. So you're telling me with blood on the front porch, the night she's kidnapped, you're actually trying to suggest that one day she's walking by her front door and she suddenly has a spontaneous nosebleed? No, it would be connected. You know, just pretend with me. Go out on a limb. It's connected. It was from the same night. Blood on the outside of the door. Blood.
I agree with Nancy. I mean, I love Joe Scott, but he's no. She didn't have some, random nosebleed and Nancy not clean it up a week prior or a day prior or whatever. That's not the way Nancy rolls. She is a very much, they said her house was immaculate. Right? Never did.
Blood on the inside of the door. I'm talking to you about getting blood, DNA, spatter, aspirated, I don't know, off of the interior rug. If there is one at the front door, and if it was overlooked by Nanos's people when they first went in. Thinky. It'd still be there on the rug, Joe Scott. That's what I'm saying.
Well, hopefully they did collect it at that moment in time and preserve it. If for no other reason to get it.
Doesn't that go without saying? I mean, it's way out of my province to correct a professor of forensics, but of course I hope they got the blood. I'm sorry, I'm like 10 steps ahead of you right now. Of course I hope they got the blood.
Let me tell you this. I hope that they got the rug that was going into the house. They didn't, though, did they? They left it out there.
No, they
left
didn't.
it on the stoop. No, oh, really? I saw it in the image. There, Nancy. Now, maybe they came back later and collected it.
Hold on. What? Wait, what?
They left it.
I'm like 10 steps ahead of you right now. Of course I hope they got the blood.
Let me tell you this. I hope that they got the rug that was going into the house. They didn't, though, did they? They left it out there.
No, they
left it
didn't.
on the stoop.
He's right. He's absolutely right.
No, oh, really? I saw it in the image. There, Nancy. Now, maybe they came back later and collected it, but they didn't collect it in the moment. And let me tell you one other thing.
I don't think they ever collected it. And listen, you can't tell me that this guy coming to the door didn't step on this fucking rug. Look at this. He had to have stepped on this rug. Had to have. What are rugs for? What are they for? They are to collect debris. They didn't take the damn rug. It's more likely something be on that rug than anywhere else if there's a fiber or whatever.
If you like that.
No, they didn't. It's probably still sitting there, Joe Scott. That's why I wanted it explored.
Well, yeah, I wanted to explore too. And, I'm more than happy to go teach classes for these people because obviously they skipped over the day where we talk about securing and collecting evidence because they didn't in that first pass that they did. Now, I don't know who showed up that 36 hours later. I hope they had the good sense to collect it. I hope they had the good sense to collect everything inside of that door, Nancy, and anything else that's on that surface in that house. Because
I do too, but you can clearly see that there was a lot of mistakes made here. Not that I'm aware of. If they took that rug, it wouldn't be sitting there now, right?
Let me tell you something. The clock is ticking. It has been ticking now for many, many weeks. And they missed something initially here. That is, this guy is stomping all over that rug. Put him back up. Show the video of him walking up. He's walking up to that. He's putting his feet down there. in the Nest camera video that we're looking at, Nancy.
Exactly.
You know, that's a
true.
pretty significant piece of
1,000%.
evidence, because not only do we have blood deposition on the surrounding area, and you can't see it on that rug. Gee, I wonder why, because it's black.
Look,
You would
there.
have to have some
What'd I
kind of
tell you?
contrast.
I told you he had to step on that fucking rug. Look at him right there.
Do we have blood deposition on the
Watch
surrounding
this.
area,
What?
and you can't see it on that
Holy
rug?
shit.
Gee, I
Look
wonder
at there.
why, because
Right on the fucking rug. Nanos, you are the biggest buffoon, in my opinion, that God ever stretched a piece of skin over.
it's black, you would have to have some kind of contrast medium to be able to show it up right there. And then I guarantee you, dollars to donuts, there's blood deposition on that doormat right there. And God only knows what's
1,000%. 1,000%.
inside of the house. Like you said, in the receiving area, if there's a carpeted space in there, if there's a welcome mat, you know, where you wipe your feet and all that sort of thing, or even a runner, you know, you think about that. Well, you can have blood deposition there as well. So it draws into question for me from a forensic standpoint. Is there going to be value here? Because once you do not secure the scene, then all bets are off. You're going to have the lawyers that are going to come in and say, well, anybody could have come up to that location after this.
They didn't. But this is the thing. It was probably pointless for the FBI to take that rug, essentially, after it had been stepped on for 3 weeks or days. Reporters up there, pizza delivery. I mean, just everything. Everyone walking up there, delivery guy, everything.
And could have planted anything, or it could have been destroyed, or it could have been altered. This is a train wreck, Nancy. Pure and simple.
It's
Pure
a
and
fucking
simple
train
when
wreck.
you look at this.
You were seeing video earlier from our friends at Fox News, and I want to point out the reason Joe Scott Morgan and I are angry and upset tonight is because we see errors. We see mishandling of the crime scene. We see possibility.
I have an article of, by the way, it's an article with Parade. Nancy Guthrie, former Pima County Sheriff, claims Chris Nanos, quote, corrupted, end quote, crime scene. Meaning he fucked it up.
That may very well still exist that could give us clues, not just clues, evidence as to who took Nancy Guthrie. And we're going to go.
Very good point, Caleb. Nobody has spoken about that. Matt, just inside the door into the house from garage. There is a rug at that door too. Very good point. Very good point. What about, maybe we should go back to Brian's. We should look at, there's probably a rug at every single door, right? Someone propping it open. This buffoon Nanos had this house cleared in 48 hours. And everyone was like, what? Just regular everyday people was like, why did you clear it so quick? FBI goes back. Well, the question was asked, Nanos, aren't you afraid you cleared the house too soon and then going back and people, you know, that this might hurt it in the courts? Well, we'll let the courts worry about that. Never heard a sheriff say that. That pissed
down, swinging, fighting.
off.
When we hit bottom, we'll still be swinging up. That is why Joe Scott and I and everybody on this panel tonight is still fighting, still angry, still searching, still looking for answers. Another idea, Joe Scott Morgan, the back door. Oh, hey, I want you to hear what Savannah said about the blood. Listen, Joe Scott.
She can't wander off. She was in tremendous pain. Her back was very bad. So there was no wander off. And the doors were propped open.
Yeah.
And there was blood on the front doorstep. And the Ring camera had been yanked off. Yeah.
So, Joe Scott, we hear her saying there was blood on the doorstep. That's what they saw that morning. That does not preclude blood on the rug in the entrance hall or blood in the entrance hall, which they would definitely have stepped on. The perp and Mrs. Guthrie would have stepped on the blood on the inside, and maybe Annie, maybe the husband, maybe the police, had they not seen it, but it could still actually be there. That was from Today YouTube, by the way. Okay, Joe Scott, jump in.
Yeah, there's any number of places. You think about, let's just say we're talking about a carpet, okay? It's interwoven. So you can actually have blood deposition that actually gets into the weave of the carpet. And again,
well, and think about the fabrics, right? Rugs are, like I said, meant to collect debris, but not only collect debris, it absorbs things too. Right? Uber picked her up. Did she in fact close the garage? Dropping her off, think that she just left it open. The garage door, Caleb, was closed, open and closed. We know that, and it was a 2-minute period. Welcome, Italian. Appreciate you, dear. Welcome to the Pearl family. Really do appreciate you. And welcome, Italian, to the Pearl family. Thank you so much for becoming a Pearl. Really do appreciate that, my dear. Yeah, they know the garage was opened and closed, and it was 2 minutes. Again, it takes the average garage door to 15 seconds to open. Some of the older ones, 20 seconds. So 15 seconds open, 15 seconds close. So we have a minute and a half that Nancy had to get out of the car, hit the button to close it. Minute and a half.
even with any kind of trace evidence, this is very delicate stuff. You have to be very, very careful about it, where you're trying to pull things out or try to enhance them so that you can examine them, because there's two types of examination that we're thinking about here.
Sarah, thank you so much for gifting a pearl necklace. Really do appreciate that, my darling. Purple house when she came home. Possible. Thank you so much, Miss Sarah, for gifting a pearl necklace. If you received that, make sure you give our gal, Miss Sarah, a big, big thank you. Oh my God, you gifted another one. Thank you so much, my lovies. Appreciate you. Make sure you thank Miss Sarah if you received one of those pearl necklaces. You are a legend, girl. Appreciate you very, very much, Miss Sarah Jane. Thank you, lovey. I'm a CNA, and unless he just let her out and didn't watch her go in, then she didn't do that in 2 minutes. I take care of the elderly for a living, and I call bullshit. Mandy, you know, I know a lot of people do. A lot of people do. And I'm a little sus on it too. To be honest with you, I am a little sus on it. However, I will say, like, you know how sometimes people hit the garage door button or the app like when they're pulling up to the garage? But then I think Nancy getting in, getting out of the car and all that, I don't know. I don't know. I do see what people are saying. I do. I don't know. It's wild.
First off, If there is, in fact, biological data contained within the rug, you have to be able to assess that. And then if there is blood deposition, which means that there is a specific pattern, that has to be assessed. So we're talking about photography and we're talking about biological assessment in the lab, Nancy.
From our friends at Fox News, two other.
Well, her car was already in the garage as well. Her car was already in the garage. My thing is, and we've talked about this kind of at this part ad nauseum, why didn't Tommaso said allegedly that he saw Nancy go inside and the door come down as he was backing up or leaving. He saw that she made it in okay, and then I don't know.
Quick items. Joe Scott Morgan, 1. We know the door was propped open in the back. What evidence can we get from that? Doorknob, how was it propped open? Was it propped open with a rock? Can I get DNA off that?
Betty Davis?
Was it propped open with a chair? Did they move it with their hands? Did they all wear gloves? What can I get from that?
Davis.
Oh my God. I think about the surface of what, when Savannah says it was propped.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Someone just said this. Consider this. Nancy was able to walk out of her house and get in an Uber on her own earlier that evening. Yes, that is true. And you know what would be interesting to ask? The Uber person, FBI, local law enforcement, have you guys asked to see how fast Miss Nancy Guthrie was walking that evening? How long did it take her to get in the car? And you know what? I just thought of something. Maybe that's partially why they have not released the Uber video. Maybe it would show her getting in the car slowly. Taking her time. Maybe she just jumps right in. I don't know. But we've all seen cab game show, video camera, like when they get in the car, when a person first gets in the car, right? And they'll say where they're going, or they'll say hello and they greet someone. Which door she came out of. Yeah, that's too. But how long it took her to get in that car? How fast was Nancy walking to get in the car? Did it take her some time? Because remember, she walked with a cane. You got it. Yeah. Yep. You said it. Yep. Yes. Or ask the Uber driver what door she came out of. I don't think she would walk all the way to the front of the garage. Good question. How many Ubers did she take riding with strangers? I don't know if it was a common thing for her to take an Uber or what. The Uber driver did not take her home. This is the other thing that's a little perplexing to me. If there is an Uber, if my mother-in-law, which I would never make her take an Uber, number one, but if she was going to take an Uber here, to my house, she's going to take one back. Why didn't you just go get her? But you decided to take her back. And then, excuse me, and then The garage door goes up, it goes down 2 minutes, and then 4 hours later, she hasn't been seen since. Is it all a coincidence? Is it all a coincidence? But the Uber, okay, I read that one. Did they ever return Nancy's car? Don't know. That's a very good question. I haven't heard about that. Maybe they packed the bedding off her bed and throwing it out somewhere. There's no reporting on that. You would, you know what I mean? The 11th porch guy is true. Why didn't anyone worry about it? Who had access to see movement? Who knew? No subscription paid. No subscription paid. No. But the Uber did not take. Okay, I read that one. Keep in mind that it was what Nanos is telling us. He screwed up info all the time. He could be erroneous in the statement about Tommaso's comment. Maybe on that. Or ask the Uber driver what door she came out of. Yes. I would think she might have used the front door for the Uber, in my opinion, because it goes right out to the sidewalk. Someone would pull up, around that little thing, and it pulls right up to the sidewalk. Heard podcast mention that she was being stalked all the way to driver and that someone watching in back window of the Uber car. Well, Caleb, one thing that's interesting is the neighbor who has the with the dog that went out late at night on the 31st. They saw a car about 2 houses down on the side of the road. During the evening, no one was in it, though. Just right down below Nancy's house. Now, why would someone just pull on the side of the road right there and leave their car? I don't think the front door has a double lock. I mean, it has a deadbolt and then it has a lock underneath, like the doorknob, but it doesn't, you know what I mean? Exactly, to have an alibi. Yeah. Why not just go get her? It's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes to go get Nancy. Why would you make her pay $30, $40 to take her? Ubers are expensive. Very expensive. Very expensive. And why would you make her, but you take her back? You take her back. Okay, let's think of this a second. Savannah said that Tommaso and Annie were caregivers of Nancy, right? But she goes in an Uber. She's on a cane. Most days she can't get to the mailbox, right? You have dinner, all of that stuff. And then you take the mother-in-law back to her home that you're caring for, but the caregiver doesn't see her, doesn't go with her inside the house. They pop the garage door open, they close the garage door, and then they leave. And it pulled away from the house. Yeah. Yeah. That seems a little weird, if you ask me. Seems a little weird.
Propped open. All right. That doesn't just mean that it's it's open. That means that some item, that generally implies that some item was used to facilitate that, right? So I am thinking about things like trace evidence relative to fingerprints. I'm thinking about any kind of deposition relative to potential DNA. If it is a rock, if it's an iron bar, if it's a piece of wood, I don't know. And also, you think about, in addition to that, any kind of trace evidence that might be on the doorknob or on the actual door jamb, where you're actually opening the door, where you're putting your hands on there to try to get it open. And propped, I wonder if we can put into this world, into this environment.
Yet remember, they were hiding their face in the car, which I thought that was so weird. I just thought that was very weird to hide your face in the early days.
Idea that it could have,
like, everyone knew, who you were, the public. Why are you like hiding your face?
been pried. All right. Now they're saying no signs
Trying to
of forced
hide your
entry.
face.
That's something that I'm going to be very curious about. Was the lock jimmied in any way? We had talked about lock picking some time ago.
Mauricio, you are so late. It's okay, darling.
Did somebody get access to that lock? Or is it commonly unlocked?
Watch this.
That's
video.
a big question too, because some people feel secure in their homes. Maybe she left it unlocked.
That's from Fox Flight Team. That's a really good point, Joe Scott, because we heard that Mrs. Guthrie sometimes left her back door unlocked. So there's so many directions to go. Okay, what were you just saying?
No, I was just saying that I think that the idea
Love
here
you,
is,
Sarah.
are there any tool marks on that door whatsoever? Are there any tool marks on the key access area, that point where you make contact with a key going into the lock? Did anybody pry anything? Was anything pressured? Did somebody put a shoulder into it?
Nar.
Does it open in? Does it open out? Is it something you have to pull? So all of those dynamics come into play. And when you're at a crime scene, Nancy, this is how your brain has to work as an investigator. You want to consider all possibilities.
And stream it first. It is actually, they were infrared images.
Let me check something right here real quick.
Explain how that helped crack the case and bring out the truth in the red images case. That satellite images were used. Actually, they were infrared images. Explain how that helped crack the case and bring out the truth in the Rittenhouse incident.
Rittenhouse, okay.
The problem is you cannot predict when the satellites are going to come over and use and find the video or imagery at the time of the crime is very, very unusual. So actual imagery.
9:48, garage doors open. 9:50, garage door closes. 1:47, door cam disconnects. 2 a.m., pacemaker spikes. See, I don't know about this. I'm not sure I agree with this timeline because I have not seen, maybe I'm wrong, but I have not seen anything at 2 a.m. that says her pacemaker spikes. I seen a doctor say her pacemaker could have spiked. Software detects a person on camera. We knew that, yes. 2:28 pace. Oh, my nose is itching off. Pacemaker disconnects from phone. 11:56 a.m. family checks on Nancy. Huh. I don't know about that, the pacemaker spikes. I have not seen that anywhere, so I think that might be a little wrong, in my opinion. Justin, did you get any of the emails I sent you over the last few days? I have been really behind on my emails. Let me see. I'm sure I did. If you sent them, my dear, I haven't seen an official 2 a.m. spike either. Yeah. Even if they catch the perp, Nano's complete debacle investigation will make it difficult. It could. Oh, my nose. I don't know. I read the Uber driver was a lady who Nancy had used before. Yeah, and it again, we've all been asking to see this, like Nancy in that Uber, like her getting in of the car, her getting specifically her getting out of that car. It's easier to get in a car, wouldn't you agree, than it is getting out of a car? Oh, my nose, guys. My nose has never itched like this in my life. Maybe it's allergies. Probably pollen. Yeah, I feel better than I did yesterday. What's up? Last night I took like a lot of vitamin C, and I took a bunch of collagen, and I took vitamin D, and I took zinc and all that. And this morning, like, you could really tell the healing from yesterday, like my mouth where I had the extraction for the implant. Spring is in the air, Justin. Nose tickles. Yeah. My gums feeling better. You sound like I'm teething, Maurice. I'm not teething. Yeah. But I took a bunch of stuff last night to hopefully help. Yeah. What's wrong with my nose, man? I need some allergy medicine or something. Okay. Guys, I'm almost at 3 hours. I'm actually going to end it here. I have someone that's going to call me that's, I think, a local. They've sent me some interesting stuff right now, so I'm going to talk with them. I may come. It's 1:00 already. My goodness. Okay. I'm going to do, Lord willing, 2 live streams tomorrow, at least, because we've got to talk about Jack and Lily Sullivan tomorrow. Hey, Lexi, your birthday's today? Happy birthday, what's up? Y'all say happy birthday to what's up. Happy birthday, what's up? The world is your oyster. It's up for you to find the pearls. And guess what? You did, girlfriend. You did. I'm going to sing to you like Marilyn Monroe sang to John Fitzgerald Kennedy so many years ago. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. What's up, babe? Happy birthday to and many, many more. All the blessings to you, my dear. Much love. Appreciate you all very much. Do y'all like the green screen or no? Let me know in the comments below and in the chat. Do you like the green screen? What do you think? Be honest. Just be honest. You don't gotta, I don't want you to say yes because I'm here. It's okay if you don't like it. I really want to know your real input. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Plant lady, I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your honesty. The original. Someone said, I see a lot of yeses and a couple no's. I thought it was your room. Me. Oh, well, dark. That's better. Do you like the dark one better? Or which one do y'all like the best? This one? The dark one? The green one? This one? The house one? Red brick? Dark one? Green one? Mirror? House? dark. I could also like customize it as well, like KK and Edgar. I like it. House, dark, no to the dark, green, dark. Dark with candles is nice. Blue, piano house one, house, dark, green room, green, dark, dark. I always want your honest opinion. I don't want you to ever just agree with me like some creators want. I want you to I want your honest feedback always like that. Green and house just gives us a new every day. Yeah. Green less distracting, green always on a screen. Thank you, my dears. All right, guys. I'm gonna talk to this person and I will let you know if anything comes out of it. So yeah, also I'm making a video right now. It should be up tomorrow at some point as well. House the most, okay. I like what you were using yesterday. That was my real room yesterday. That was my real room. The dark one goes well with your complexion. Well, thank you. How about that? I don't like the brick wall. You're just another brick in the wall. Why would I delete all your emails? Is it something? Is it something bad? Like my room rest. Okay. I take it all in consideration. All right, guys. Much love. Appreciate you. I will see you guys, Lord willing, tomorrow. Good night, everyone. God bless.